if you look at the dual slit experiment, the observer effect, all of these kind of things, they show you the nature of consciousness, how its primacy affects everything. If you hold the remote to your head and press it, all of a sudden the door opens. Why is that? That's because it's using this antenna. He is dying. And at that point I looked and I saw, and it's a very, very weird feeling seeing your own face from a third party angle. That is... Do you think actors live inside the TV screen? No? Seems like quite a stupid question, yes? But then, do you believe that your head, or your brain, or even your body creates your consciousness? Now to me, that concept is equally ludicrous for the simple fact that I know that this is a transceiver of my consciousness and I am that. I am literally my awareness that has been tuned in to the flesh. And that is how I wear this Earth Day suit, interact with this realm, and do what I do, communicate with you now. That's why death is the ultimate illusion. And there are so many things in life that are flipped, turned upside down and back to front that it doesn't even make any sense, because you take things at a surface level and you accept what they say because they do seem plausible. But the key to a good lie is making sure it contains 99% of the truth. And that's what they've been doing for thousands of years. Thousands of years. Now, if you look at the dual slit experiment, the observer effect, all of these kind of things, they show you the nature of consciousness, how its primacy affects everything, right? Because that is what we are. That's who we are beyond the game. That's who we are in the game. That is what creates, maintains and sustains everything. It's this infinite awareness inside ourselves. Now, if you don't know that, if you don't have access to that, or if you think that you are the flesh, then you're screwed. Your life is going to be pretty difficult because you've automatically precluded certain magical superpowers that you have within here. I mean, I'll give you an example. Say you need to get into your car, right? And it's a bit far away. You press the remote and it doesn't work. If you hold the remote to your head and press it, all of a sudden the door opens. Why is that? That's because it's using this antenna as an antenna to extend itself. Your bones, your nervous system, the salt, the fluids, everything that's in here, we work like radio transceivers. Now, the difference between a warrior and a slave is that the slave is listening to the same song that the warrior is, but is being played on an AM radio set with one busted speaker and loads of noise thrown in. So they're sitting there mangling the lyrics and they think they know what they're saying when it's totally different. Now, they can't think of another alternative because they've never tried it. If you ask them to remember what their childhood felt like when they were in a state of innocence before they were adulterated, they turn around and say, well, you know, it was a lot more vivid, it was a lot more fun, and it'll be very ambiguous, but there will not be anything concrete in it. That is the state that the warrior is in, because we are all born warriors, and it's a simple case of getting back to our natural state. I mean, haven't you ever questioned why they call it second nature? They say it's easier second nature. If it's second nature, obviously there must be a first nature. And this is what I'm telling you, because your awareness right now, the you that you think you are, is the equivalent of a callus on your consciousness. It's that dead skin which is there to protect the rest. That's your innocence. And that's what it's all about getting back to, because we are electromagnetic beings, right? Our brains are electric and our heart works on magnetism. This is why you hear things like, the attraction was magnetic. It's all there. It's all there, right? This is how it works. In the future, we're going to be using microdoses of electricity to fix our bodies, because people don't realize how powerful these things are. The tools are all around us, but they're just not being told there. You know, you can do what you want with them. I'll give you an example. Look at epilepsy, right? One of the most common things with epilepsy is the person states they have a sensation called an aura, where just before or just after they have their seizure, which is a lot of vibration, which is the same thing people on DMT report, but that's happening internally with all the preparatory steps, right? Just before that, they say, oh, I had supreme feelings of oneness, it was a very spiritual experience, it was almost divine, this, that, and the other. That is what happens when the consciousness is severed from the body without the preparatory steps. Now, this happens every single night when you go to sleep. There are layers that need to come away. And if, say, this layer here is your brain, if your brain won't stop talking, then the rest of the layers don't matter because you won't be able to get to sleep. Or say, for example, if you manage to get this one off, and then this one is physical tension. If the physical tension doesn't go away, you'll have one of them sleeps where you're like up and down, up and down, up and down. It won't be a restful sleep, right? These are the layers, because you are in effect like a Russian doll, and this body, this matter, this is the coarsest element of it, right? This is the heaviest part, but we are made of far lighter essences, and that's who we are. Pure consciousness, pure consciousness. Once you've experienced that state, then the game makes a lot more sense, because you realize how it's all in your head. This is why I say you are another me, together we. This is also why I say there are no strangers, there are no enemies. I have befriended the whole world, because everyone can teach me something. If I don't like something about you, that's because there's something inside me that I need to deal with. Haven't you ever noticed that there's people who will be in a relationship with a person that they thought was XYZ, and then when they get with them, they're ABC, they leave them, they find someone else who they think is XYZ, and they also turn out to be ABC, and they keep on repeating it again and again and again and again. This was one of the most common cases that I used to deal with when people used to come see me at my drop-in, and they'd be like, well, you know, she's totally different, or he's totally different. And they're like, no, that's not the case at all. And then they'd see the underlying pattern, right? And then it comes to the state of, well, what inside you, out of all of the people out there, is making you attracted to these people? That's a very powerful thing if you think about it, because something obviously within is managing to screen all these people and saying, that's the one I'm attracted to. Because everyone is here to teach you something about you. It's all about your evolution, right? So if you consider, like, for example, going back to sleep again, there are people who will say, don't talk to me until I've had my coffee, right? You notice yourself when you get up from night, you need to feel like you're coming back online, right? Once again, then layers are building up again. And when they're all there, you feel good. And when they're not there, sometimes you can have a whole day when one layer's missing. And when that layer's not in, you're like, oh, I feel off today, must have slept dodgy, blah, 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 whatever your excuse is. And then the next day you feel good. I mean, you think about it yourself. If you could have, right now, $1 million cash, that's it, but for the rest of the life, your sleep quality stays exactly the same way it is, or for the rest of your life, you have perfect 10 out of 10 sleep quality every single night, and you get up every day feeling amazing, but nothing else in your life changes, which one would you pick? It's kind of obvious, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? That's how important sleep is, because sleep is really the key. I mean, look, think about it this way. They say, let he who has wisdom count the number of the beast, for it is the number of man. Yeah? And we all know what 666 means. But have you ever considered that we spend 2/3 of our life on this planet in this Earth Day suit, right? This is made of carbon, 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. 2/3 is 0.666. Do you think it's kind of obvious? That's why they told you that devil is lived in reverse. What if we're already dead and this is actually hell? And when people meet and greet and they say, hello, they're actually saying, oh hell, and telling you where you actually are. This is the game. This is how many levels it's played on. I mean, when I had my near-death experience, one of the most amazing things, and I'm going to cover this in more detail in another episode, but one of the most amazing things, as my flesh was dying and my infinite awareness was floating, I suddenly realized, like, you know, from here you can see it 180 degrees, and if you want to see more, you turn around and look, right? In that state, I was in 1080 degree awareness, which means I was not only seeing here and here, but 3 other layers all at the same time. And that was an absolutely mind-blowing experience, because it was non-dual. And it was at that point I had like a, not like this, the ego chatter that comes in your head. This was more like this, a wave of awareness that came over me, and it said very simply, very plain, it didn't even say it was an observation, no emotion, he is dying. And at that point I looked and I saw, and it's a very, very weird feeling seeing your own face from a third-party angle. That was so strange. And that's when I went back in my body. But we're going to, like I said, we'll get into that. The reason why I'm saying that for is I've experienced this. So I know I'm not the flesh, right? This was the greatest gift my frenemies have given me thus far. And it was greatly appreciated, even though at the time I completely hated it. Now I get it. Do you know what I mean? I took that coal and I turned it into a diamond. So imagine in that respect, if you went to bed and you had a dream, and then you get up and you go back to bed again, and the dream continues. And it keeps continuing every single night. After a while, it'll be kind of hard to tell what is your dream life and what is your real life, yes? Welcome to the game. Do you see what I'm saying? This is what we're already in. You know, row your boat made of flesh gently down the stream of consciousness, merrily, 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 for fear is false evidence appearing real. Life is but a dream within a dream. The Game of Souls has you, my friend. So we meet again